Good morning, everyone. For today's video, we have to discuss the overview of microbiology. So first, what is microbiology? It is simply defined as a study of microorganisms, with micro meaning small and biology it is the study of living things. The types of microorganisms. Microorganisms or microbes are small living things. Most of these organisms cannot be seen by the naked eye, but with the help of microscope and germ theory, tiny particles or organisms can see it now. Microbes are found nearly anywhere on Earth. They are found in boiling pools of water in Yellowstone and in volcanic vents at the lowest depth of the sea. They can live in salt flats and some thrive in salt water. Salt water for using as a preservative. Some need oxygen to grow and others do not. The world's toughest microorganism is a bacteria called Deinocomus radiotrans. Bacteria which can withstand radiation to a phenomenal degree, as its name implies, but can also survive without water, exposure to strong acids, and even when placed in a vacuum. So we have heard the classification of microorganisms in microbiology. There are many different ways in which scientists have classified. One of the ways microbes are classified by whether or not they have cells, and it is so many microorganisms may be multicellular, unicellular, acicellular. When we say multicellular, having more than one cell. Unicellular, having single cell. Acicellular, lacking cells such as viruses and prions. Prions are usually referred to as infection protein rather than microbes. Eukaryotes and prokaryotes is another way in which organisms are classified, has to do with the type of cell. Eukaryotes are microbes with complex cells, which have true nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. The example of eukaryotes, the helminth, protozoa, algae, fungi, and yeast. Prokaryotes are microbes with simple cell, which do not have a true nucleus and lack membrane-bound organelles. The example of this is the bacteria. So, the major classes of microorganisms: the parasites, the fungi and yeast, the bacteria, virus, and the prions. Parasites are sometimes more frightening than other microorganisms, at least when they can be viewed with the naked eye. Example of parasitic infections includes malaria, giardia, and African sleeping sickness. The ascariasis, or the roundworms, are known to infect 1 billion people worldwide. The second one is the fungi and yeast. Fungi are microorganisms that are in some ways are similar to plant. Yeast are a type of fungus. Examples: when the athlete's foot or other types of infections, which all under the class of fungal infections. This includes mushrooms and molds like bacteria. We also have many good fungi that live on our bodies and do not cause disease. Third one is the bacteria. We have more bacteria in and our body than human cells, but the vast majority of these bacteria are healthy bacteria. They protect us against infections from bad or pathologic bacteria and play a role in digesting our food. Example of infections caused by bacteria include tuberculosis and strep throat. The fourth one is the viruses. Viruses are abundant in nature, though the ones most people are familiar with are those that cause human disease. Virus can also infect other microorganisms such as bacteria as well as plants. The prions. Most scientists at this time do not classify prions as microorganisms, but rather as infectious protein. That said, they are often studied by biologists. History of microbiology. What we know about microorganisms? Well, let's take a brief look at this history of microorganisms. First microscope, or the first microorganism visualized, is the first major step in microbiology came about when Van Leeuwenhoek in the year 1632 to 1723 created the first single lens microscope. Then the second is development of germ theory. The human body was reorganized as a source of infection by three scientists. We have Dr. Oliver Wendell Holmes, Dr. Ignaz Semmelweis, and Joseph Lister. Dr. Oliver found that women who give birth at home were less likely to develop infection than those who delivered in hospital. Dr. Ignaz linked infections with a physician who went directly from the autopsy room to the maternity ward without washing their hands. Joseph Lister said, introduce aseptic techniques including both hand washing and using heat for sterilization. The germ theory. We have two people most created with the acceptance of germ theory, were Louis Pasteur and Robert Koch. Louis Pasteur in the year 1822 to 1895 is created with the theory of biogenesis, nothing that all living things come from something rather than the prevailing view of at the time of spontaneous generation. He claimed that many diseases were caused by microbes. He shown that microorganisms are responsible for fermentation and spoilage and developed the method called pasteurization, still used today. He also developed rabies and anthrax vaccine. Robert Koch in the year 1843 to 1910, Koch is the author of Koch's postulates, the scientific series of steps that prove the germ theory and which has been used in scientific study since. Then he identified the cause of tuberculosis, anthrax, and cholera. Since that time, a few landmarks include in the year 1892, Dmitry Iosifovich Ivanovsky discovered the first virus. In the year 1928, Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin. In the year 1995, the first microbial genomic sequence was published. The infectious microorganisms. When we think of microorganisms, most of us think of disease, though these little bugs are overall more likely to help us than hurt us. Until less than a century ago, there are currently in many places of the world infectious with microorganisms were the leading cause of death. The life expectancy in the United States improved dramatically over the last century, not only because we are living longer, but mostly because fewer children die in childhood. In the US, heart disease and cancer are how the first and the second leading causes of death. According to the WHO, in low-income countries worldwide, the leading cause of death is lower respiratory infections, followed by the diarrheal disease. The advent of vaccination and antibiotics, plus even more importantly, clean water, has lowered our concern over infectious microorganisms, but it would be amiss to be arrogant. At the current time, we are facing not only emerging infectious disease but also antibiotic resistance. Microorganisms which are helpful to humans. Microorganisms are not only helpful but necessary in nearly every aspect of our lives. Microbes are importantly in protecting our bodies against bad microbes, making food, from yogurt to alcoholic beverage. Fermentation is a method in which the growth of microbes is used to create food. The breakdown of waste of the ground and recycling atmospheric gases above. Then the producing vitamins such as vitamin K and some B vitamins. Bacteria are also extremely important for digestion. Information storing. The field of cryptography is even looking at the ways in which bacteria can be used as a hand drive to store information. Not only do microbes perform many functions for us, they are part of us. So we have heard the field of microbiology. There are several different fields within the microbiology. An example of some of these fields broken down into by types of organisms include parasitology, the study of parasites, mycology, the study of fungi, the bacteriology, the study of bacteria, the protozoology, the study of protozoa, phycology, the study of algae, the virology, the study of viruses. Fields of microbiology can be broken down the scope to include a wide range of topics. A few examples among many includes microbial physiology, the growth, metabolism, and structures of microbes. Then microbial genetics, microbial evolution, microbial environment, and industrial microorganisms, the food microbiology, biotechnology, and bioreadiness. remediation. So those are the overview of microbiology that I discussed. Thank you for listening